My name is Eric Hansen. I manage and run this ranch. I'm fourth generation of it. My grandfather homesteaded over the mountain from here, and when the homestead didn't work out, then he purchased this ranch from Cravers, the original owners.
Hansen Livestock is a cattle operation in the Medicine Lodge Valley. They own over 30,000 acres of deeded ground and operate on a lot of public BLM and state Forest Service ground. We have about 1,000 head of mother cows, and then we retain all their calves and run them as yearlings. This was always a sheep allotment up here before when we had sheep, and they watered out of a little pond over here, and the sheep did fine, but the cows, they just get out in it and waller in it and turns it into a big mud hole, and they don't want to drink. The landowner was interested in developing water. Hansen Livestock switched from predominantly a sheep operation to cattle operation, so tanks were needed on the property. This is a spring development, and then it's piped down to a watering facility for livestock. So this project here we're looking at, NRCS provided technical assistance to survey and design these projects. By putting these in, it's just, you got good, fresh, clean water for them all the time, and it disperses them, you know, all over the whole area. It provides a clean, reliable water source for livestock, helps with range utilization on the range ground. This has been a good project for them, and he says it waters, you know, 400 or 500 cows. It's definitely improved the pasture and the cattle, you know, they gain weight better, and all that, you know, is what pays the bills. So NRCS surveyed and designed over 7 spring developments. It's over 1.5 miles of pipeline with all the 7 spring developments and 10 tanks. So we did that through technical assistance, and now we're working with the landowner on an agricultural land easement with the Nature Conservancy. It's over 13,000 acres.
Jim Berkey. I am the Nature Conservancy in Montana's High Divide Headwaters Director. The High Divide Headwaters is our name for this part of Montana. It's a region that we feel like is very important biologically, that also from a landscape scale connects the greater Yellowstone ecosystem with the crown of the continent up to the north and into the Salmon Selway Wilderness area. But it's an area that's largely controlled by and managed by private landowners. We want to keep landowners on the land, kind of managing as they have been for a few hundred years, and so we're trying to find common ground between our biologic objectives. Lindsay from the NRCS introduced us to the Hansen family. We did a lot of work with Nature Conservancy before the easement, before anything ever came up with it. Then they came and they mapped for, I don't know, probably 3 years. And then they even did some spraying for us on noxious weeds, and we kind of just developed a relationship with them. Part of that was conservation easements. The Hansens were interested, but pretty cautious, and rightly so. It's a perpetual commitment, something you only do once on a piece of ground, and something you want to make sure it will work for you and your family, and ideally for future generations too. There's probably 10 species of different sagebrush on the property. The landowners consider wildlife in their planning process throughout the ranch. They make sure that tanks have wildlife escape ramps in them. Species like sage-grouse need huge intact areas of open sagebrush and grassland for their life cycle. And they're very sensitive species to development. Sage-grouse were a candidate for listing under the Endangered Species Act, and NRCS, through the Sage-Grouse Initiative, has provided technical and financial assistance to landowners across 11 western states to help improve sage-grouse habitat. The primary restrictions in the easement is subdivision and development. There's really very little difference in the Hansens' management and how they look at their land before and after the easement. Because they're doing a good job as good stewards already, we're simply purchasing the development rights that others may find attractive from the Hansens, and they're able to continue to manage their family operation just as they have been.
My goal is, I'm a fourth generation. I want my daughter to run the ranch, hopefully someday, and her kids. And even if we don't, like we end up, something happens and we can't run the ranch anymore, I want this to be a ranch, a working ranch. I want it to stay the way it is.